Hello,
Hello.
how are you?
Great. How are you?
All over the place, but very pleasantly.
Amazing. I love your hair.
Thank you. I've been trying to add some texture to it because I've had a straight style for a few weeks and I'm
Yeah,
constantly in a state of experimentation over here.
I feel you. I feel you. Okay, so I'm just gonna get right into it.
Right.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to Breakthrough Spotlight. My name is Tomiko, and I'm a dancer, creative, leader, and activist. I have been dancing ever since the age of 6 with the nonprofit organization Culture Shock LA. This is where I have merged my passion for art and community building. I am the founder of my own club called Girls Can Create at Eagle Rock High School, which inspires young women on campus through female art, activism, entrepreneurship, etc. I am also the vice president of Eagle Rock High School's Black Student Union, which provides a safe space for the Black community at Eagle Rock High. Over quarantine, I've also been learning new skills such as how to play guitar and piano. To describe my physical appearance, I'm a young woman with black box braids wearing a pink Nike windbreaker and gold hoops, coming to you from unceded Tongvaland. I will be your host for this conversation on behalf of Breakthrough, a nonprofit human rights organization that uses media, arts, and tech to shift cultural norms at the intersection of gender equity, racial justice, and immigration rights. I am also a storyteller in Breakthrough's Our Stories in Vivid Color multimedia initiative, which amplifies the lived experiences and dreams of young women, girls, and gender nonconforming youth of color. To learn more about Breakthrough and how to participate in the storytelling initiative, follow this Instagram at Breakthrough TV and visit their website at letsbreakthrough.org/our stories. So, as part of Black History Month, Breakthrough is celebrating with the hashtag #ThisIsBlackJoy. Today, we will be discussing how we find joy through dance. Joining me in conversation is a classically trained ballerina, the founder of Ballet After Dark, Tyde-Courtney Edwards. Born and raised in Baltimore City, Tyde-Courtney is a graduate of the Baltimore School for the Arts and has had over 20 years of training and experience. She is trained in various styles of dance, including classical and contemporary ballet, point, modern, lyrical, jazz, tap, and hip hop. Ballet After Dark was founded as a free, trauma-informed, holistic dance therapy curriculum that allows youth and adult women, and those who identify as women, to refocus trauma into triumph using ballet fundamentals, athletic conditioning, and empowering mantras. Please give a warm welcome to Tyde-Courtney Edwards.
Thank you
Yeah,
for having me.
of course. So, my first question for you is, you've trained in so many dance styles. Why is ballet your favorite? Or is ballet even your favorite?
Yes. Yes, it is. Um, I think that I relate to re- the regal qualities of it. I always grew up hearing that ballet was for princesses, and we were always taught using metaphors that related to royalty, and possessing this talent and technique makes me feel royal. So I think that's why ballet is my favorite and why I've always stuck to it. And I really think that it has elements of it that can help women discover femininity and discover grace and to discover elegance. So those are all qualities that I consider to be very necessary for my development into womanhood. And ballet has just helped me stay connected to that.
Amazing. Can you tell us more about the conception of Ballet After Dark as a trauma-informed holistic dance therapy curriculum?
Yes. So the trauma-informed curriculum was inspired due to a lack of holistic resources made available to trauma survivors, especially resources being made available to Black and Brown trauma survivors. Searching for organizations or programs that allowed for you to focus on various elements of healing, not just healing from mental health episodes, PTSD, or any type of emotional issues that may arise, but also learning how to work with yourself to reconnect with your body following trauma. So because of the lack of service, this idea was conceived. There needed to be a space that used very specific communication skills, that understood that you were dealing with vulnerable populations, where the focus was not on the trauma that brought you here, but what your plans, what your goals of healing look like following trauma.
Right. Because I feel like a lot of people don't really necessarily view dance as therapy, but you know, for a lot of dancers, it's therapeutical and can get them through hard times. So, can you speak to the relationship between mind, body? Well, okay. Can you speak to the relationship between the mind and the body, and how a physical activity like dance not only exercises the body, but also the mind?
Yes. So think of it this way. The actual movement portion of dance offers you a freedom of expression that you may not be able to put into words. Sometimes the thoughts that we have and the feelings that we have can only be expressed in movement. Sometimes you are so devastated by an act, or you are so transformed by an act, that the process of verbal communication can be triggering within itself. So movement, not even specifically ballet, but having the opportunity to exercise autonomy and to be able to move without explanation is one of the connections that are typically missed out on. It's not something that is discussed a lot of times, because there are still studies being conducted to basically give proof that movement and that, you know, somatic arts are conducive to healing. Yeah. It is my particular somatic philosophy that in order for you to heal from any type of trauma, you do have to have a holistic approach. And I think that's what we've got going on over here now.
Nice. And you touched on being free with the movement. And I feel like freestyling, like for me, is more therapeutic than doing choreography, just personally. Because like there's no rules to it, and I could just like do whatever I want. And I don't necessarily have like moves that I have to stick to. So yeah. And what has your experience as a Black woman in the ballet world been like?
Ooh. It's been a roller coaster. It's been interesting. Now that I'm older, I have learned how to command space now, as opposed to when I was your age, a million years ago. There was this overwhelming feeling of needing to belong, having to uh, having to do certain things to fit in, so that I would be considered for roles. Um, it's ballet in general is a very, very whitewashed discipline. It was very common for me growing up to go to auditions and to be told by white dancers that they don't offer hip hop here, when I'm clearly not a hip hop dancer. I showed up with a ballet bun. I got tights on underneath of my jeans, like I'm here to do the things.
Mm-hmm.
There have been a lot of instances where I've had to prove myself more times than I would care to, just to still not get the role, or just to still be told that I may only be casted in a role if I can fit into the costume. But it has definitely had its obstacles, but it has fortified me. I think that learning from teachers with Russian backgrounds and French backgrounds, it's forced me to have to develop tough skin, because you never really knew what they were going to say to you. I was very much raised in a culture of dance where it was very common for abusive rhetoric to be used in order to get particular execution out of it. There were a lot of habits that we were encouraged to take up because they may suppress our weight, or they would make us blend in with the core. And it was interesting, to say the least. It's still very much interesting, but I think the climate of the world in general is forcing people to be more inclusive. And the thing with this program is that I have taken, if we're going to look at it from a political standpoint, I've taken something that was not supposed to be meant for Black people, especially Black women, and I've repurposed it in a way so that I've exposed more Black and brown bodies to a classical discipline that was not supposed to be for them to begin with. I thank ballet and all of the drama that came with it for developing that courage in me to repurpose it, and also to alleviate a lot of the intimidation associated with it. Mm-hmm. There's nothing wrong with ballet being used as a tool of joy. For centuries, it's been used as a tool of strict discipline. And, that's what I came up under. And not that I still very much, I still pull from old technical lessons. I'm a stickler for posture. I will lay you out if I feel like you just don't play with me. But, there are very particular elements, classical elements, that I still agree with. But outside of that, I think it's safe for me to say now that you got to treat the journey the way you want. Treat the journey the way you want the outcome to be. Like, you go into it with, the thought that it is going to be challenging, and just push yourself. There are obstacles everywhere.
That's a great answer, because I've in the dance world, I've been able to speak to like Black ballerinas, and their answer was like yours, but also the industry's changing and trying to be more inclusive. But there's people like you who are really pushing that and breaking barriers for young women of color to go into that industry. So thank you. And what are some self-care practices you teach your students? What are some of your favorite self-care practices as well?
Reflection is a huge thing that I'm big on, and also reconnecting and recognizing joy. We did we had a girls' night in instead of class last week, where all we focused on was discussions built around topics that brought us joy. What are your favorite books? What are your favorite movies? What are some of the highlights of the week that you're looking forward to? Um, Figuring out a way to stay present with yourself and making sure that you forgive yourself for whatever goals weren't accomplished. One of my biggest self-care tips that I personally like to implement is, like I mentioned earlier, reflection. Every morning when I wake up, I start my mornings in silence,
Mm-hmm.
at least the best of my ability. I have found over the years that too much noise in the morning is very triggering for me, and it will throw off the entire day. So every morning, I start my morning with an opportunity to reflect on the past day's events. And what I do is when I'm reflecting on those events, I make sure to pinpoint things that I feel that I particularly excelled at that day. I am reflecting on the joy of the day before. Also, what I'm doing is setting intentions for the day that's coming. I am using this silence and this solitude as a way for me to manifest all of the good work that I am trying to make happen. Um, Also, forgiveness of self and being gentle with yourself. I think that's a lot of things. That's one thing that Black women particularly um, miss out on, and Black girls too. We are conditioned to push through. We are conditioned to accept certain trauma and certain disappointment as rites of passage. And we're not encouraged as much as we should be, and we're often left to discover our greatness on our own, which is not a problem. But what we have to do is to remember to be gentle with ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason I say that is because you are not constantly reinforcing the love that you have for yourself, the peace that you have for yourself, the compassion that you have for yourself. Is going to be very, very difficult for
Right.
you to be able to make anything happen. Um, we very much are a space that operates from universal loving compassion. And you really, really, really have to be okay with yourself making mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
Be okay with it. It's not the end of the world.
Right. And like I feel like a lot of people and some of my friends too have been picking up journaling. Like that's been a form of like meditation for people and therapy. I think writing down your thoughts is very beneficial because like you see it all on paper and it's more like tangible to you, like less of the unknown.
Mhm.
So, my next question is the Ballet After Dark short film, directed by B. Monet for Queen Latifah's Queen Collective series, is such a beautiful piece. What was that experience like?
It was amazing. Um, to be able to work with such a great, talented group of young Black women is probably one of the highlights of my career.
Mhm.
Um, I've been teaching for oh, 16 years now, maybe.
Wow.
I don't know. I
So
don't
cool.
know the math. But to be given an opportunity, which meant that I could create opportunity for other people locally, was one of the highlights of the experience. To be able to provide those girls with film credits while they're in high school, to be able to contribute to highlights of their professional career. You're 14 years old. You've been in a movie. I was able to make that happen for you.
Wow.
You carpet. Also it was about job opportunities too. We were able to work with a lot of great local talent here that really made the project happen. It was beautiful, and I learned a lot. Dance is very similar to, I guess, direction in general. They all have their similarities no matter what the medium is. And directing choreography is no different than, being behind the camera.
Mm-hmm.
And it also opened my eyes to other interests that I have. But it was great, and I'm really looking forward to what we do next is with the film.
Nice. And I love Queen Latifah, so just working with her is amazing. Why is it especially important for Black and brown girls to be represented living their full, joyous lives?
Because before we have an opportunity to do that, we've already been mislabeled. We've already been over sexualized. We've already been told what we're going to do. We've already had our freedom to express ourselves verbally stripped away from us, because anytime you question something that an adult says, or anytime you have an opinion, you are considered grown, or
Mm-hmm.
you're considered too smart, or too old for your, just too mature for your age, or even fast. So having the opportunity to really grow into yourself with encouragement is going to be the integral part of a lot of these young Black and brown girls' development now. If you want to really give our girls an opportunity to blossom and shine, leave them alone. Guide them, but don't stop them.
Mm-hmm. And to go back to what you were saying about like too grown or like too fast, I feel like it's like they judge that from the smallest things, like how you wear your hair or what you're wearing. Like it's not even real substance that they have. So you saying that means a lot, and it should, be an eye opener to a lot of people. So to end our IG Live today, I would like to spread some affirmations. So what I got from your answers was that I am enough. I think that's an affirmation that a lot of people should be telling themselves on a daily basis because it's true. You are enough, no matter how you look, how you have been perceived. I feel like self-love was a recurring theme that you discussed. And would you like to share one of your affirmations?
Yeah. One thing that I usually say is you are smarter than you think, and you're stronger than you know.
Mm.
And if you believe in something, stick with it to fruition. My father is one of my biggest supporters, okay? Giving me great advice about what I've been doing for the last 3 years. And every week he still sends me an email about a job that's hiring. Like, I don't have one. But follows that up always with keep going. You know what you're doing, just keep going. You have to be the captain of your own ship, and you got to be your biggest cheerleader.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah.
Yes. I think being your own cheerleader and being your own motivation is really key. But thank you all so much for tuning into this episode of Breakthrough Spotlight. Once again, my name is Tomiko, and tell us how your dance practices have brought you joy with the hashtag #ThisIsBlackJoy and tag @BreakthroughTV. Be sure to follow Breakthrough on Instagram, explore their link tree, and follow the Our Stories project at letsbreakthrough.org/Our Stories. Thank you all again and have a great evening. Thank you so much, Tyde-Courtney. This has been an amazing discussion, and I'm so excited to see what you do and how we can work together. And yeah, thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you. You guys have a great rest of the day. And I look forward to seeing how you blossom, young Tomiko. I think you're just going to be fantastic.
Thank you. Bye.
Guys.